Has this happened to you?
I didn't fall for it, but I was witnessing it happen to me in real time. I was like, hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Faiven.
And welcome to Let's Talk About It.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, we want to hear from you, so comment below during the video.
Today we're talking about all the things we learned the hard way.
Child. I love how that's my response every time she does any intro. Child, Lord, ancient, like
Yeah,
just all of that,
yes.
just all of that. I learned a lot of things the hard way is what I'm trying to say. So let's talk about it. But first, rapid fire.
What's the main
I was like, these are not my questions.
Are you stubborn?
No. I'm self-righteous because I be right. Stubborn people be wrong and they don't. What's the main difference between bonding and trauma dumping?
I think bonding is like a shared experience that's happening, and it can also be like positive, sharing the good times. But trauma dumping is usually one person unloading all of their bad stuff on you, whether or not you had the bandwidth for it. When was the last time you didn't take someone's advice but wish you had?
Probably y'all's.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
A lot of leave that man alone, but you sometimes gotta learn the hard way. The most money I've ever spent in one transaction was blank.
My wedding shoes. What is the hardest lesson you've learned so far as an adult?
No matter how great you are, not everyone is gonna like you. The most rewarding part of motherhood is blank.
All of it. I love my babies. What are you most proud of achieving?
Independence in New York City and not being in debt. What's a sound piece of advice that you have for someone in their 20s?
You don't have to have all the experiences. Like you can trust somebody. If they are trying to warn you from doing something that cannot be taken back, that cannot be undone or unseen, it's not YOLO. Like you only die once, okay? Like everything does not have to be tried. So I'm gonna just jump right in. One of the things that I absolutely learned the hard way, just as a young person dating, was that you can't always wait for potential. You will waste a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of heartache trying to wait for somebody to be that better version of themselves.
I've done that multiple times.
Same. And it's like, why? If y'all don't have like property or children or bills that are binding y'all together, like I was so deathly afraid though of them becoming the better person and then being better for somebody else that I was like, I have to see this through, you know?
Why are we conditioned like this as humans?
I hate it.
Don't you just want to go to the creator and be like, y'all, you had too much fun.
Excuse me, sir. I think you made a mistake.
You give us too many like opinions and thoughts and feelings.
This autonomy is really just for the birds.
It's just too much.
Have it back.
It's too much. Make us a little like less complicated. But yeah, I have done that countless times. Because I think it all comes down to you don't want to be alone, right? So you're with somebody and they're not treating you right, or they're not treating you how you want to be treated, and so you're just kind of living in this like fantasy in between where you're like, they are A, but I want them to be B, so I'm just gonna like be an A.5 in my mind. It's horrible. It's a horrible place to be in, and every time you do it, you think you're not doing it. Have you ever been like, I learned my lesson, I'm never gonna do this again, and then I can think of 4 or 5 people, and I'm like, oh, the universe really does give you the same lesson over and over again until you learn it.
Yes.
But I think that's what led to me taking a hiatus in dating, because I'm like, I have learned a lot of lessons and I'm applying all of them, and that leaves me with no options.
The universe or God, however your belief system is set up, he's just still building your man. He is in the process. He's over here learning his lessons so that he can be ready for you.
To everyone who has married friends, this is what happens. The married friend always got some adage, some quote that they lay onto the single friend to make them feel better about being single. I don't mind though. I really have transcended. I'm just saying, I used to really want someone so bad, and I still want somebody, but I feel so great.
But you're
Just
not waiting. You're
right.
still actively pursuing your own life and your own dreams and your own goals. I feel like a lot of times, because I mean, it is easy to wallow and to go, oh, like I want a person, and I've definitely been there too. But it's like, what are you doing right now to make yourself ready for that person? If that person came and fell into your lap today, like how are y'all going to build together, or are you just like waiting for them to sweep you off your feet? What are you going to contribute to that relationship? Have you worked on your past trauma? How healed are you? How much debt do you have? How much? I'm not saying that you have to have all these things perfectly figured out, but why not just do what you can in the interim, since you ain't got nothing else to do?
I agree. And I see, like, I watch a lot of the viral dating shows. Like, have you ever watched Kendra G's Singles?
No, but since
They
we have a
call
shared
in,
account, I always see it in the history, and I'm like, who is watching? Is you?
it's me. It's research. We talk about relationships. But a lot of women call in, and when the host asks them what they want in a guy, a lot of them ask for fit men, but the women themselves are not fit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, like if he's fit, then like he can bring me to the gym with him, or like we can like work out together, or I'm working on it, but they're never actually working on it because it's not that hard once you actually figure it out. But like, I take that to say like, there's so many people who want to be better for their person, but they're waiting for the person and
Mm-hmm.
then they want to be better.
Mm-hmm.
If you're already single right now, you have zero prospects, and you're like, I want to lose 40 pounds, just lose the 40 pounds
Mm-hmm.
now. Like, why are you waiting for like a fit man to come in your life? You have ChatGPT, you have Google, you have YouTube. You can just figure it out. It's just calories, it's getting your steps in. And then along that journey, there's a mental trick that happens, and you're more confident and you're healthier, and like your life is just better. So imagine if after 1 year you lose that weight, you feel great about yourself and your body, and then your prospects change and your outlook on life change, because I think your options are only as good or bad as your mindset at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that a lot. People want a finished product when they're nowhere near finished, and I don't think we're ever finished. But like, you need to be working on something.
Yeah, building the habit, because that's the challenge. Putting in the time to get yourself to the gym as much as you say you are, deciding to cook that healthy meal instead of eating out as much as you say you are, so that when you do find your person, you're not just like spending all this money and now what?
Yeah, I learned that the hard way too when it came to fitness. I think I didn't understand the calories part until like a year ago, but I was always working out. I enjoyed being active, and when I dated someone who wasn't active, they couldn't get over the fact that my ex before them was literally like an athlete and jacked. And so the person I was dating was just grasping at straws, like trying to go to boxing classes and do these random things that just didn't make any sense, and buying random equipment. I'm like, what are you doing? They were just trying to be what they thought I wanted. And it was the opposite happened, because I got the ick, because I'm like, what you're showing is insecurity, and you're trying to be something that you're not. Like, if you don't work out, you don't work out.
Yeah.
But like, don't not work out and pretend you work out.
Yeah.
And then it's just awkward for everyone. So I definitely learned that the hard way. Trying to see someone's potential and be like, if you did this, you could be this. And then I would like you then. Like, you can't do that. When you meet somebody, how they are right now needs to be what you're attracted to. And even if they have an end goal, say they have a money goal or a fitness goal or a career goal, if you see them putting in the reps trying to attain those things, you're at least meeting someone, you're attracted to them because they have the motivation and ambition to get to a certain goal. But like, it never works when you try to build somebody or you hope that they get to another point.
Yeah.
If you don't love them right now, you're not going to respect them enough to love them when they get to the goal.
Something else that I had to learn the hard way. Like, I'm of the school of thought. Like, I do think people can change. I firmly believe that people are capable of that. But you can't be the one to push somebody to change. If that idea doesn't come from them, if that desire and motivation to change is not coming from them, it's not going to happen. But I would be in situations where I was like, well, if I just stick it out and they see, you know, what a good catch I am, or, you know, how much I'm doing for them, then my existence and what have you will inspire them to change. And no, it did not.
It never does.
Mm-mm.
In fact, when there's not someone else involved, I'm inspired to change and do better more because it's only me that's in the sphere. So I'm like, I bet that works for other people too. Because when you're tied to someone else, you're always keeping them in mind. So I'm like, there's something pure about making life decisions when it's only affecting you.
Yeah.
What I put into my body only affects me. If I start lifting weights, that only affects me. If I cut down on spending and say I'm not going to do any leisure travel this year, that only affects me and my net worth, my bank account. And it's like, no one is coercing me to change my habits or patterns. So I feel more confident going into dating situations, knowing that everything I'm doing is because I want to do it. It just feels so nice.
Yeah. What's something else you had to learn the hard way?
Just because someone has a lot of the qualities you want, like on paper, like 6 feet, good job, car, like
height
all these
is always
things.
on the list.
Always, yeah. Kind. They can have all these positive attributes. If you're not compatible with the intangible stuff, it's still not going to work. If you're not on the same spiritual level, if you're not in the same level of communication, if your love languages don't overlap, then none of it matters. Because I have literally been in these high rises in midtowns with the finance bro who makes $400,000 a year and pays for all the dates, and still just an awkward vibe between us because we don't have that like volley of ideas and conversation, and we're on two different planes. So it doesn't matter that you have everything on the list that's tangible. What's intangible? And I learned that the hard way because I've wasted a lot of time dating people who have the things on my list.
Yeah. A lot of people I've learned, like relationships are work, you know, it's work that you look forward to doing, you know, just like with a job. Every day might not be fun, you know, you go through hardships together, but it's work. And like a lot of times people say they want something or that they're working towards something, and then you like hang out and you're like, you're not really talking and moving like somebody that is looking for a partner. Like, why does talking to you feel like pulling teeth? Like, why aren't you slowing down at all? Why aren't you learning how to make a meal for your wife? Or are you just maybe expecting her to do all that? Like, you're very much still living like a bachelor, but you swear up and down that you're ready to settle down. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what does settling down mean something different to you than it does to me?
I guess that's another thing I learned the hard way, that like actions really do matter more than words, because I'll be dating somebody and then they'll be like, oh, I'm hanging out with my friends on Saturday. I'm like, okay, cool, have fun. And then Saturday comes and I remember this guy literally took like a selfie with the whole group like this, and they were all behind him, and like there was all this food out. And everyone was clearly like in a couple or had a date with them. And he literally takes a photo. They were making sushi at somebody's house, rolling it themselves. It was like a sushi night. And he sends the photo to me, like, look how much fun we're having, essentially. And I'm like,
you're the 10th wheel.
I'm like, we are dating. And you wouldn't think to be like, Faiven, do you like sushi? Come to the sushi night?
Who was this?
The one who didn't like my taste in music and movies. And he, like, it was no problem, just and hit send. And I'm just at home alone.
Yeah.
I technically could have dated other people because he wasn't my boyfriend, but once I pick someone, I kind of have to see it through. I just don't have the wherewithal to split my brain, and then I'll have the same conversation with different people. Learn that the hard way too. So I'm like, I see this through and see what happens, and then we either commit and run off to the sunset or we fizzle. So the fact that his actions did not align with, I want to partner with you, I see value in you, I want you to meet my friends. Like, he didn't do any of that, but I was still like, well, we're good. We'll make it. But because like there's people who are genuinely interested in me who are like, my friends are all going to the, pool hall. You want to come? And it's like, okay, great. Like actually integrating you. So I learned that the hard way many, many a time. And then I don't have any of those horror stories though, where like the guy ends up married or, like, because a lot of people who are, they think the guy's moving in silence and being private, but he's actually hiding you. Some people learn that the hard way. And that's why they demand, post me, post me. It's not that they want to be posted. They just want to be validated and they want to be reassured that you are who you say you are. It's just, it gets so complicated.
Yeah, I've never been in a situation where I've had to ask somebody. I cannot see myself having to ask somebody to post me on social media. Like there are other issues going on if that is what I'm looking for as a show of your love. Now, I do think if you're in a situation where your relationship is solid, your partner is not hiding you, and they're just not on social media like that, and you're like still making them post you, like it doesn't mean anything. Like if you didn't post me on your own and you're only posting me because I asked you to, then it doesn't mean anything. And are you so concerned with, the outside world seeing y'all that you're still going to press your partner to do something like that? Like I just can't wrap my brain around that,
There's a couple I know who only would post each other. They'd go on trips and weekends here and there and then hiking or whatever. They'll take photos like together and then of each other. And so their whole grid is like them together, them by themselves, them together, them by themselves. But the ones of them by themselves, the other partner took, obviously, because it's the same trip. And then they broke up. So I went to the girls' page and she just hid all the photos where he's in it, and it's just her still on that hiking roof, the mountaintop, and still.
Does the caption change too then?
Oh, I need to check. I'll check later because, a lot of times it was like the lovey-dovey ones. But maybe that's another reason why I don't like the showy public displays, because half the times when people are doing it too much and it's every post, they're not actually happy. They're just showing like, look, somebody chose me, somebody picked me, and they're really trying to press that onto people. I'm like, nah, I learned that the hard way too, that like just because it looks flowery on the internet or to other people doesn't mean it is. Like, remember Philip? I could say Philip because this was so long ago.
I don't remember Philip.
Oh, maybe that's how long ago it was. It was a boyfriend before we even met.
Was he the white one?
Yes.
I do.
The violinist.
Okay, yep.
We met online. We dated for a couple years. We were so young in the 20s, so we didn't really know how to act really. But like, it wasn't the best relationship, but we kept getting so much external validation superficially because they're like, you guys look so good together. So of course, here we were posting pictures together all the time, looking so good together, traveling together.
I was just going to ask you too, because I don't think, aside from the one that you lived with but you hated, I don't really recall you posting a lot of partners.
I think that was the last one I posted, the one I lived with.
And then you said never again, no soft launch, nothing.
It's kind of annoying posting people, deleting them, posting people, deleting them. And like, why do you need the whole world to know your dating history? That's why people come to the realization that they're like, oh, unless there's a ring involved, why do I need to advertise this person?
Yeah. I mean, when me and Joe started dating, I was so excited about him and about us. So like I didn't share anything at first. And my mom at the time, she got really mad at me because she's like, you're being so secretive and why won't you just tell us? And she was taking it personally. So she was like, what is it about us that makes you feel like you can't share this information with us? But really, I was trying to protect them because I was like, before my husband, the person that I introduced you to, that I brought into my family's home, ended up being a complete psycho who now had my family's address. He knew my parents. He just knew everybody that I loved. And I didn't want to bring somebody to them again that just was not sane or a safe person to be around, and she could not see it that way. But I also did like the soft launch where I was like, to my texts with my parents and on Instagram, I was like, here's the person that I'm seeing, and I'd put like a big emoji on their face. And And yeah, I just wanted people to know that I was happy and that I was seeing somebody again, but that was all I was ready for them to know.
Because you learned the hard way. You let someone all the way in, and you gave an inch, he took a mile,
Took a whole
mind
mile.
games. I remember that. That was a crazy chapter.
Terrible.
Yeah. So there's so many things we learned the hard way. And we were talking before about, I was telling you a story about a girl who didn't know she was just like a booty call.
Yes.
And she was like pulling out all the stops for this guy, showing up to his house in the trench coat and the lingerie, but she was literally just a Tinder booty call. And I really wanted, because I'm older than her, so I wanted to tell her the truth, which is how, I guess in that situation, she still thought there was a chance that she'd be upgraded to girlfriend and all these things.
But if the roles were reversed and if you were in her shoes, would you have listened to the older, wiser friend?
No. So sometimes you need to learn the hard way for real.
Yeah.
Because even, when you hear the stories of people stuck in the on again, off again, and it's clearly toxic, and the only thing you can do is be a friend with an ear, because they're so enveloped in the dynamic that no outside voices can actually do anything. And I had that happen too, maybe twice, where like my friends are great because they're like, oh yeah, wow, crazy. But in like, I'm sure they'll go home and be like, she's still dealing with that person. That's crazy. And then only hindsight is 2020.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I put myself through that, or I let them treat me that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I listened to that girl's story about her doing all these things for just like a guy who's not even
gonna regret this,
taking her out.
Yeah.
I'm saying, just come over to me or come into, like, it's cringe to listen to because I already learned the hard way for so many dating things. So for someone who is like new into their dating life and then they're running into the same old thing, you just got to live and learn.
Yeah. Like the thing that I used to hate about myself was just like how devastated I would be when a relationship ended. I wanted to will myself to be one of those people that could just like get over things fast and, find the new relationship. And so I also think, maybe this isn't everybody's story, but I feel like a lot of dating when you're young and when you're like a teenager, even maybe early 20s, is like you're out to prove that you care less after the relationship has ended. And so sometimes that looks like being the first one to have a new partner or showing that partner on the internet because it's like, you think I really loved you? That relationship meant nothing to me. Look how fast I moved on, as you like are secretly sobbing into a pillow. And so something that I had to learn the hard way was that, like, listen, I need time. Like, if a relationship ends, I need to process. I need to sit with my feelings. I am not a serial dater. I am not a serial relationship person. I understand that some people move on quickly, but what I have accepted about myself is that I'm just not one of those people. And I also don't want to bring any residual trauma into my new relationship. Like my husband and I caught feelings for each other really fast, but I was like so nervous to pursue something with him because I knew what I had just come out of. And that's why I was also very transparent with him about like, look, this isn't on you. It's for me to work through, but I just need you to know what I'm coming from. Because I needed a little grace in that situation. I was like, if you are still trying to pursue this with me, this is where we're starting. So yeah. I don't move on quickly. I'm a softie. I got big feelings.
Oh,
I need time.
Same. I also had to learn that the hard way because when you're single and you're just going on dates, sometimes you're dating for a couple of months. So it's like, it's a significant chunk where you're getting to know one person. But doing that back to back is draining and exhausting. And so I had to learn the hard way, like to avoid burnout. I don't think I did it in enough time because I was like, I'm burnt out. But like I was dating a lot after a breakup, but I know I wasn't over the guy that I broke up with. So
some people believe that's the way to getting over them is to find somebody new.
I understand the phrase, but I'm not hooking up with these people. I'm genuinely sitting across from them. Like the phrase is to get over someone, you got to get under someone else. So I'm like, these people, when I say I'm dating, like half of them, like we don't even like make out. We're just getting to know each other and we get coffee and stuff. But like, I realize it's really futile to try to do that because if you're genuinely not over someone, you're not emotionally available. And so I'm just sitting there looking at someone talk at me. I don't feel anything. So I'm like, it sucks in two ways. One, you don't know if you're actually into the person because you're stuck on someone else. And two, even if you're not into them, you're just wasting your time in theirs. And that's not fair to you or them.
Yes.
So I learned that the hard way. And I'm like, if I am laying down at night to sleep and I'm looking at the ceiling and I'm thinking about a guy who we had a thing, I'm not over him. So I'm like, when several weeks or even several months go by, I'm like, oh, I forgot about that person. Or I'm like, oh, I'm not thinking about them romantically at all. I'm not pining and longing. That's such a great freeing feeling. And it's like, okay, now I'm open.
I learned that like you have to be cautious about people that are in close proximity to you. Maybe they're friends with you. Maybe they're friends with the person that you're dating. And they are there to kind of like catch you when you fall. But like not in a, like, what am I trying to say? Like when somebody has that close of proximity to how hurt you are, to how open and how vulnerable you are, they maybe are an ear and a shoulder, but like they have different intentions. You know, you're just kind of like easy prey because they know that you're sad, and that if they just maybe rub your shoulder and comfort you, that they can kind of come in and, you know, fill a space that is now vacant, and they are just trying to smash maybe. And you're sitting here crying with your heart out thinking that this person is genuinely trying to care for you, and they're just like, no, I just see how vulnerable you are. Come. And they're just like preying on you and your broken heart.
Has this happened to you?
I didn't fall for it, but I was witnessing it happen to me in real time. I was like, you are stepping in, you are breaking bro code. Doesn't y'all's friendship mean anything? You see how devastated I am, and you're like coming in with like a pickup line, like, I don't even remember what it was, but I was just like, this is cringy and breaking so many rules. You know, you don't do that to your homeboy, and like just stay away from me, because yes, I am very vulnerable right now.
But yeah, I'm glad you learned that. I'm glad you were able to see it in real time as it was happening, because a lot of things you don't see to like retrospect. You're like, wait a minute.
That's why we're sitting here talking about all this stuff in hindsight. Yes,
I know, but you did make a good point, which was we can't warn everyone of everything. You kind of have to live through it.
Yeah.
How you were saying, like, oh, if you're in your 30s or 40s and a 21-year-old is asking you a question, they might not listen to you. Like, some of it might seep in, which is why like I'm really big into mentorship. I have a mentee. Hey, I'm about to see her next week at my performance. But anyway, yeah, we talk a lot of tea in like different categories, like work. We don't talk too much about dating and stuff because it's like not that appropriate. Like it's more like work and career. If she has questions about dating in New York, whatever, especially after the Me Too movement, you need to know, like, because she's going into acting.
Right.
I want to make sure she's like has her head on straight and knows what to look out for. But like mentorship is so important for this reason, because you can literally hear the beginning, middle, and end of someone's story, of someone who's older than you, and how they navigated certain situations. And it doesn't mean you have to follow exactly what they did, but you can be like, okay, that's something to note. That's something to look out for. But also, I think it's important to note the humanity in everyone. That like, yes, if you meet a guy and you think he's the most handsome person you've ever seen in your entire life, but you know he's a Playboy Casanova, and you know he's doing the whatever move and like the arm over the locker, like, hey, shorty, da-da-da-da, and you fall for it, don't beat yourself up. You are human. Yeah. You're human. And this is what we do. It's in our bodies. We are imperfect. So you're not gonna always make the right choices, but hopefully you learn, even if it is the hard way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because there's always been a lot of shame that has followed me after any number of experiences that I went through when I was young. But we are all human, and for whatever reason, like the bad experiences are the bigger teachers. Good experiences, like, you know, the lessons don't always stick. I am learning that grief is a bigger teacher than joy, love, happiness, any of that ever was. And I'm just like, oh, I hate this. But the lessons are loud and they're sticking. And I'm like, okay, we are growing. This is some real adult transition stuff happening here. And then you're like, why did the lesson have to be so loud? And it's like, I don't know that anything else could have taught you in a way that was as impactful. I was so naive when I was younger. Like, I just thought I knew everything, which is always a very dangerous place to be in. And I just thought that the things that I needed to know would naturally come later. And that sounds so stupid right now, but I was like, house, checks, banking, bills, I'll figure that out later. You have to actively pursue anything it is that you are trying to know or learn. Like, the stuff isn't just going to fall on your head. And I just knew it would come to me later.
Well, you did pretty well considering you didn't know a lot of the adulting stuff and didn't seek things out. Like, you partnered well. You guys got a new vehicle, you're looking for a new house. Like, the things are happening.
Yes.
But now that you know what you don't know, I'm sure moving forward, like, you'll tell Lily, like, hey, like, let's talk about credit cards.
Yeah.
Let's talk about savings. Let's talk about plans.
I guess I romanticized what the path to get there would look like. So it's like, yes, all the things are happening. I still found my way, but it just was more like this, you know?
Oh, that's what my path is too. That's why I kind of like chuckle when someone's like, how did you end up? I'm like, oh,
you got time.
How much time do you have? Because some things you learn the hard way, some things work out. And at the end of the day, time, like, when there's separation, like, what do they say? Tragedy plus time equals comedy.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I've never heard that. Okay.
Yeah, because and you're just so far removed when things have been years ago, you can look back at it and be like, that was crazy. And like, it doesn't hurt you as much. So I'm like, oh, I have so many stories. And the fact that I came out unscathed, I'm like, yeah, it was a hard way, but like, I'm here. I'm fine. It's not that bad. I'm not in jail. I'm not destitute. I'm not.
Could be worse.
Like, it could literally be worse. Like, I'm just a human who learned lessons. And some things that happened to me is because I didn't know that it wouldn't, you know, like, just life just unfolds. And then when you go down Reddit rabbit holes and watch podcasts and all these things, you're like, oh, this happens to other people too. Yes. And then you're more illuminated. Yes. So I think like shows like these are really helpful, especially when you're younger, because you're like, oh, okay, that's what to look out for with guys. Okay, oh, that's a bad boss. They shouldn't talk to you like that. Or like just things you wouldn't know.
Yeah. I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful that I'm in a space to where I can even say I'm grateful for the lessons, because you can also go the other way and just be bitter and kicking rocks and that kind of stuff too. Because, you know, life be lifing, and I've been humbled a handful of times. But I am, to your point, grateful. I'm not going to say unscathed, but I am grateful that I am still standing.
I know, that's right. I am so evolved in my lessons that even all the bad stories I have, like about men, like the seedy ones, the ones who tried to do this or tried to do that, or lied about this, and or, you know, cheating or tried to make you a mistress and do all these things. I'm not angry at any of the men because they're imperfect too. They're projecting too. Somebody hurt them. They didn't get enough love or hugs as a child. They're projecting. There's a lot of insecurity. And I just was there, and I show up with a pure heart, and I'm like, okay, let's try to make this work. And it is what it is.
And you're going to find your good man.
I know.
So we want to hear from you. What have you learned the hard way?
Yes, let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. Go ahead, don't be shy. Share your story. What did you do and how'd that turn out for you? I'm going to do my nails on Sunday or Monday. You know, can I do my monologue for you?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It's 4.5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Just don't look me in the eye. You just got to look at a different direction. Okay. I'll be laughing.
When I was a kid, I sat my family down. I was like, I'm going to dance for you, but don't look at me. And I think I turned around. It's like, I'm going to dance for you, but I'm not going to look at you. So I turned around and I was like,
oh. Yeah, so same vibe.
Great.